Welcome back to the heart of the story here at Whispers of Turkish Stars, your calm harbor in the choppy sea of timelines and trending tags, where we don't just skim headlines, we trace the tremors beneath them, the looks that linger, the words unsaid. Today, the atmosphere is charged in a way we haven't felt in ages. We're stepping into a moment that cracked open the quiet of an early morning airport and sent a shockwave through every corner of the internet. A moment sparking hope, theories, and that breathless need to know what's real. It centers on a woman who uses silence like silk and a man who shields his heart like a vault. Yes, we're talking about the compelling, mysterious, and inexhaustibly captivating pair, Özge Yağız and Gökberk Demirci. Before we peel back each layer of the surprise that landed in the terminal today, anchor yourself in our circle of seekers. Subscribe so our deep dives never slip past you, and tap the bell to be first when a story breaks open. And for those who believe in storytelling that respects the soul of the subject, consider hitting join. Your support keeps us meticulous and mindful. Take a breath now, we're about to walk into the eye of the storm that is Özge and Gökberk. In the bluish hush before sunrise, when airports usually drift along with the sleepwalk of travelers, the muffled goodbyes, the faces half hidden behind caps and scarves, something shifted. It began as a pause, as if the entire hall inhaled at once, then cracked into a rush. Photographers formed a tide, reading the change in air the way seafarers read wind. Flashes stitched hot needles of light across the gleaming floor and lit the center of the commotion, Özge Yağız. For what felt like forever, her name had hovered over gossip sites and fan threads like a neon question mark, always circling the same core: what is really happening in the private world of Gökberk Demirci? What began as whispers of a rekindled love had thickened into rumors grand enough to topple walls, yes, even that audacious possibility of a quiet marriage. Yet through it all, Özge stayed composed, the embodiment of deliberate calm. No denial. No confession. Only that measured, curated quiet that turns curiosity into longing. She's fluent in the elegant non-answer, her half-smile can reset a conversation in a heartbeat. But the questions outpaced even the cameras. The terminal, so vast it normally swallows celebrity sighting into anonymity, became a stage overnight. One voice rose above the churn of wheels and boarding calls, slicing clean through the noise. The question hung in the air, blunt as a bell. Özge Hanım, is it true you married Gökberk Demirci? It wasn't tactful. It wasn't gentle. It was a direct strike, the opening line after weeks of coy captions and coded glances. Everyone braced for her signature move, the graceful pass-by, the veiled smile, the unbothered glide through security. Not today. Today, the page turned. Özge stopped. It was a careful, almost theatrical stillness, the kind that makes time change shape. She tilted her chin a fraction. Quiet poise, like an actress stepping into a line she's rehearsed in a mirror when no one else was there. The famous smile appeared, measured and warm, and the air drew cooler around her. Cameras surged forward instinctively. Confusion snapped into a high, feverish thrill. Then the questions cascaded. Are you and Gökberk in a good place? Have the families met? Are you two heading to the same city right now, just not together? Do you plan to make anything official soon? She listened to the barrage with that protective light in her eyes, like someone standing at the doorway to her home, deciding how much of the room to reveal. I know you're curious, she said at last, in a voice that traveled but still felt intimate. But I believe things unfold best in their own time. I feel peaceful. The rest, you'll understand soon. That was all. It was plenty. The line floated through the hall like a fine perfume, lingering even after she turned away. She moved through security with a steady hand, passport and phone forward, not once glancing back. And as the clip rocketed across feeds, another detail resurfaced from just days earlier, a line from Gökberk Demirci himself after rehearsals, when a mic caught him on the move. I prefer not to discuss my private life, he'd said, kind but firm. I'm happy. Today, that sentence turned magnetic, pulling all of Özge's words into its orbit. His steady contentment, her poised serenity. Together they made the rumor flood rise and blur its banks. Let's pause right here, Whispers of Turkish Stars family, and breathe. This is a masterclass in revealing without yielding, in showing while sheltering. We're seeing two people with a shared language of privacy. But what do you think? Is the poised ambiguity a veil over a vow, or simply a couple giving their love a quiet room in a loud world? Drop your take in the comments. If this story has your heart thumping as hard as ours, tap like so others can join the conversation. As noon unfolded, comment after comment claimed the game was done, that nothing remained but a slow unveiling on their terms. Others argued that her trip was not purely work or a breather, but part of a personal step she hoped to keep sacred a bit longer. The theory that made pulses race? That they were flying to the same destination on separate tickets, staggered by minutes, a chess move to dodge a single photo that would blow the doors off their quiet. It sounded like fanfiction until one eagle-eyed follower posted a hazy snap of the departures board, 2 flights to the same city, departure times a whisper apart. Proof? Not exactly. But irresistible. By evening, a routine travel day had turned into the week's keynote. The internet split into camps. Is there a hush-hush marriage no one caught, celebrated off-camera in a circle too small for echoes? Are they building toward a reveal planned with care, timed to a milestone that matters to them? Or is this simply two people tending something true and private under a canopy, refusing to let strangers write their book? The truth stayed just out of reach, like a shimmer on heat waves, while one certainty sharpened. Özge uses silence as narrative, and Gökberk backs the choice without adding a single stray syllable. The edits got bolder. Creators looped the micro moment when her lips parted before she spoke. They swore a tiny dimple showed differently than on an average day. Others read contentment in the way she shifted her weight, like a quiet rhythm. Jewelry came under the microscope. Was that ring new? A piece she always wears? A recent addition with a story not meant for today? Some matched the tone of her travel look to an outfit he wore last week, while another crowd argued that even the angle of her bag strap was a clue, as if truth loves plain sight. Messages from both fan bases poured in. She looks truly at peace, one wrote, a line that echoed beneath countless reposts. That glow isn't staged, another insisted. Skeptics planted their flag. Strategy, they said. This is sustained suspense. Even that sounded admiring. Because the dance is delicate. Private truth pitched against public appetite. And today, they danced it with elegance. One last beat in the uncut airport video, after her final sentence, Özge lifts her hand in a small wave of soft, respectful, conclusive. She reaches the barrier, hands over her phone with the boarding pass bright on the screen, and disappears behind glass into that maze of gates and numbers where cameras can't trespass. The clip ends there, but the search doesn't. People tugged at older interviews. Her thoughts on patience, loving slowly, timing is destiny. They paired them with moments where Gökberk talked about focus, respect, the need to keep a sacred center in a noisy trade. Side by side, those fragments turned today into something that felt almost inevitable. You can feel them steering without grabbing the wheel. No dramatic statements. No incendiary stunts. Just a persistent refusal to let speculation write their truth before they name it themselves. And here we are tonight, watching the tide pull back and surge again. Fans are convinced we're approaching a reveal, not a full ledger of details, not yet, but something. A photograph that speaks louder than its caption. A shared sighting that needs no translation. Or maybe a simple acknowledgement that lets a million hearts exhale. Was this morning the first step toward opening the door? We can't confirm. Not yet. But the energy around them has changed. It isn't the frantic rattle of early gossip. It's warmer, calmer, threaded with a hopeful hush. When a couple protects their center and still sparks like this, people lean in out of affection as much as curiosity. That's what today looked like, a fandom ready to wait, as long as the moment they receive is honest when it comes. So what sits on the table? A quiet union shared within a whisper-thin circle? A reveal time to a project, a milestone, a date that marks their path? Or the simplest choice of all, two people nourishing something real away from the blaze, stepping forward only when it feels true in their bones? There's suspense here, yes. But there's tenderness, too. That's why this moment dominated the timeline without lifting its voice. One thing is certain, the sentence Özge left us with belongs to this week. It gripped the timeline and spun it on a new axis. The clip will be replayed, remixed, tucked under dinner photos and anonymous lounges, set to music, slowed until every frame breathes meaning. Whether this leads to a vow, an announcement, or a continued promise to keep the center private, today will be remembered as the day their silence changed shape. Thank you for walking into the core of the story with us here on Whispers of Turkish Stars. If this deep dive moved you, share it and help our circle grow. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit join to support storytelling that holds both truth and tenderness. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your hearts tuned to what's real.